So I guess we should introduce ourselves. I am Judah. I'm driving the automobile.
I am Jeffrey, the supply of all water in this vehicle.
I'm Jed.
They can't hear you if you talk that quietly, Jed.
Really?
Yeah, they can't hear you.
Are you
You're in the
sure?
back. You have to talk louder than anyone else.
You might just not hear me in this entire podcast.
Okay, we'll settle for that.
Yeah, all the long gaps of silence is when Jed goes on a rant.
Yeah, so right now we are driving to an undisclosed location to a youth group. A group of youth. Or utes, as some people say.
Or yeets, as them dank kids call them.
Sure, or yokes, if it's in the past tense.
Yes.
But yeah, we're driving, we're eating pizza. You guys can have pizza, by the way. You can just start eating, like, whenever you want.
I'm good for now.
Except for Caleb's not allowed to chew loudly, because that would just be terrible.
Yeah.
No one wants that.
Yeah.
Just like an ASMR pizza chewing podcast.
Or that one episode of the official morning show of YouTube where the character named after the person from a popular Nintendo video game was chewing nuts very loudly, and the other person was rating it on a scale. And
You can say their names.
Oh, okay. And Rhett was rating it on a scale of Link's chewing, and it was like, I can't find the remote amount of annoyingness. It was like a scale of annoyingness, but it wasn't numbered.
Yeah.
It was just words. So it was like, I can't find the remote. That's how annoying this is.
Just words.
Yeah. So
But yeah. That. What were you saying?
There's a lot of trees.
There are a lot of trees. There are a lot of trees in the world. There are a lot of trees in the place we live. Ooh, sneaky hints. Just so you guys know, on our last podcast, we did not tell them where we lived, except for, like, it was kind of obvious we were on Vancouver Island, so you had to say that.
Columbia.
Yeah,
Earth.
British Columbia. We also said we lived in Canada. But we're not saying the city
Giving away a lot of information.
that we live in. We're not saying our last name either.
Okay.
P.S. like super duper secret. We're all bros, so we share the last name, but we're not gonna say it. So yeah. We still don't know what episode this is gonna be. I think we're probably gonna end up saying we don't know what episode this is gonna be at the beginning of every single episode.
Yeah.
And probably at the end.
I mean,
And probably all through.
We're
gonna
you
be
clicked
saying
on this episode, so it's like
Exactly.
there's a number.
At-
If you scroll down a little bit, if it's on YouTube,
At this point,
or maybe you don't. Maybe you can just like exit full screen mode, or just like wiggle your mouse around, and there it is. Boom. There you go.
yeah, I mean, at some point we will
There's a
decide what episode this is, and you will know. So it's incredibly boring for us to talk about it, but we're just trying to articulate that we still don't know what we're doing.
I mean, statistically, this episode is more likely to be a prime number episode than the next episode. And they both.
That is a true fact.
Yeah.
Prime
Also-
numbers.
Also, I mean, for lulz, we might just put random numbers as the number on the episode.
Do you know what? We could mix it up and just like as a shout out to anarchists, which we're not actually going to do that, but we could, if we wanted to, just number them randomly. Like,
Yeah.
this could be number 47, but we just post it first.
Yes.
Like, we just
Yes.
say we're starting at episode number 47 and working our way backwards. Or
Yeah.
we're not even working our way anywhere.
Yeah.
We're just random. We're
Or-
just all over the place.
Or all we do is we like take the last number, and like the last episode we did was like 47 or something like that. Then we just like roll a d20, and like that's how much it moves up or down by.
Or you just make it to the power of pi.
Yeah.
To the power of the number pi, or the food pi. Either way,
Either
I
way.
want 47 pies.
I
or
mean,
whatever
the
that would
square,
work
the
out.
square root of onions is shallots. So that's the one thing Impossible Quiz taught me. The square
Really?
root of onions is shallots.
Is it shallops?
Shallots.
Oh.
So, we're doing this kind of as a parody of many different things.
Well, it's not really a parody. This is like the podcast, the pod, as we're calling it now.
Oh.
like, we decided to do it because we have interesting conversations in the car, you know?
Yeah.
And, like, that's where the idea originally came from for me, because at the point when it wasn't just me, it was probably both me and Garrett, and I think a little bit of Caleb too, but
Yeah.
I think I had the original idea. I don't know. Like, at the beginning, it was crazy and, like, really unspecific. It was like, let's drive around and talk. And at one point, we thought about filming it on a camera, but maybe we'll do that at some point.
Yeah.
At this point, that's just not plausible.
And it was like,
us.
Garrett was sitting in the driver's seat, Judah was sitting in the passenger seat, and I was in the back, and Judah was like, seriously, Garrett? Are you idling in fourth?
Oh, now we're going back to the actual name of the podcast.
Yes.
So,
And me not knowing a lot about cars, not even like thinking at all about getting a driver's license, was like, what does this mean? And he's like, you are in the fourth gear and you're idling. This doesn't make no sense. So then it became a meme of you're idling in fourth. And then
I don't know if it's like qualifies as having meme status.
Yeah, it's not really like a meme because it hasn't changed at all.
True.
I mean, we did a thing like, well, the problem is the car we are currently in is like an automatic, so it has like low range gears, but it doesn't have like the 4. It has the 1, the 2, and the 3, and the 3 is the D. So it's just like there's no 4th gear.
Yeah.
So
and we did talk about this in our other episode.
Yes.
But it's good to get another person's take
Yes.
on this.
And then there was the only thing that I think makes it a meme is we changed it a little bit once, and we were thinking about saying it was drifting in fourth.
And we did talk about that in the other episode as well. But the interesting thing is like the development of the name, and then other podcasts sort of like influenced us to actually do it. Because, you know, it was like one of 1,000 crazy ideas to do a podcast where we're driving in the car and we're talking and we're recording it so that other people can like enjoy the golden tidbits of conversation.
And then
So like other podcasts that have inspired it were like I think originally a little bit of Hello Internet with CGP Grey and Brady Haran. A little bit of that because me and Garrett listened to that. A little bit of Dear Hank and John with Hank and John Green.
Yep.
Because they're brothers and they make a podcast. And also quite a bit from Rolling with Olin Rogers, and I don't know what Jake's last name is, and his friend Jake. I mean, you can look all of those up online. They're all great. Do recommend.
If you think we're not funny enough for you.
Yeah, if we are not funny enough, go listen to them. Better yet, regardless of whether or not we are funny, go listen to that. But there's a lot of some of those. So
I'm just gonna say
enjoy.
this because most of our conversations start like this. I have a thought that just popped in my head. What if this podcast eventually becomes as famous as, like, I don't know, Dear Hank and John, something like that? Which is
and
just,
we have like merch and a Patreon.
Yes.
We've kind of alluded to that before, and I think.
Well, no, but let me continue my thought. So, it gets that popular, and then someone starts making like just the highlights of each episode. That's like they just shrink down into all the funny bits we laugh at. What if through this recording someone is listening to this right now, making highlights? Well, I guess not right now, but in the future, making highlights of this to share with other fans of this.
That is a very interesting way to think about it.
This is a very meta moment for you. I support you in doing this.
I support you in your meta-ness.
Yes.
But I guess...
Continue being meta and breaking the world and the internet. Thank you.
Continue being meta and inspiring the meta in everyone.
In all of us.
In all of us. I guess we should say something that's worthy of a highlight now. Otherwise, that person is just going to get bored. And they're going to be listening to like an hour of a podcast and not find any highlights at all.
Okay. Rolling with Olin had a 5-second rant on Bugles.
No. We can't get into. We can't steal their stuff.
I want my opinion.
Like,
I'm going to share my opinion on it.
You're gonna share your opinion on Bugles.
Yes.
All right. This is an unbiased opinion, not tied to Rolling with Olin or Olin Rogers.
I just wanted to.
This is an opinion on Bugles.
I wanted to contrast mine with his. Is that okay? Or
Yeah, I don't know. But how about this?
Uh-huh.
For one take on Bugles, here is Caleb. I mean, Jeffrey.
For another take,
For another take on Bugles,
go find.
go listen to Rolling with Olin.
No, it's not Rolling with Olin. Just go watch all of Rolling.
Oh,
all
sorry,
of, all
it's
of
not.
Olin Rogers.
It's not Rolling with Olin. It is an Olin Rogers story video.
Yes, just watch all of them. They're all great.
Well,
I mean, this
some of
is.
them are better than others.
Yes, they're all medium.
They're all medium rare stories.
Yes, and I would say that at this point, which is an undisclosed date, are we disclosing the date?
No, we're not disclosing the date.
Okay.
But it is
A time.
a Tuesday.
Yes, it is Tuesday. Currently, from Tuesday, all of his stories have been medium that I know of.
What?
But I don't know if
Okay,
Olin
no.
Rogers will have...
We're moving on from the medium rare stories.
Okay.
What's your opinion on Bugles?
They're
Now
not that-
everyone's like so ready for your opinion.
They're not that good.
God.
Like some people are like Bugles are the best thing because they're an interesting shape, but like so are waffle cones, and waffle cones are just a lame stroop waffle.
A lame stroop waffle.
Yes, it's just a lame stroop, and I know I'm pronouncing that wrong. Deal with it, stroop waffle fans. Actually,
Deal with it.
It sound like Schroefwaffel.
We've estranged
it's-
all the stroop waffle fans.
It's probably Dutch.
said it
I'm
right.
not sure if it's Dutch or not, but I call them
got it
stroop waffles because I like that stroopiness of the waffle.
Jed is saying that in his expert opinion, that is how you say stroop waffle.
No, you're saying stroof waffle. I'm saying stroop waffle.
Ah,
I think
stroop
Judah's
waffle.
closer to the correct answer.
Oh, in Jed's expert opinion, mine is closer.
In my expert opinion, I don't care. Okay, but
His not caringness is more than my accurateness.
like I can see how they're a little bit of a different texture from a corn chip,
Yeah.
but they're pretty similar to a corn chip. Like,
Well, I feel like that's kind of okay, you know, because the corn chip was like this base upon which something should be built.
that's true.
Like
That's true.
Doritos. They that empire was built on a corn chip. It's true. They're
yes,
like
it was.
at the very heart of them, you will find a corn chip.
Mexico
It
was
may be an
built
enhanced
on a corn chip.
Not Mexico wasn't built on a corn chip. We can't make racist statements like that.
Hey,
We are not anti-Mexico.
corn chips are amazing.
But corn chips are amazing. And corn chips are a great thing about Mexico. But corn chips are something to build on.
Yes.
Not a country, but a
It's-
chip.
Also-
Something to build a chip on. Or
But-
like a snack on.
but I would also say-
Doritos was built on a corn chip, and so was the Bugle. But
Yes.
not well, I think it's a corn chip like type, but it doesn't look like a corn chip.
Yes.
It doesn't have like grains in it.
Yeah, but one of the
It's like an imposter chip.
one of the interesting things is I think the same difference between a bugle and a corn chip is the same difference between like Lay's low salt potato chips and Pringles, or just Lay's
what?
regular potato chips.
Oh, you mean like it's a more intense?
It's a different way to do it.
It's like a potent.
Yes.
It's
Yes,
a more
kind of.
potent flavor.
Yes.
Well, it's a different take.
That should be
the
on an
flavor.
IQ test. That should be on an IQ test.
Potent.
No.
Which chip is better?
If- No. A bugle is to a corn chip what a Pringles is
to a blank.
Yes.
A Bugles is to a corn chip what Pringles is to a blank.
yes. Okay.
That would be so fun. Just put that on like all of the text.
Yes.
Like at the end, just a comedy question.
Yes.
Just
yes.
keep it light, keep it fluffy. That's
Yeah.
what our school system needs.
Now let's. What else could you? Now I want to try and make as many of those as possible. The problem is all of them are lame. It's like,
You mean like what a
Uh,
A is to a B, a C is to a blank?
yeah. It's like what an arm is to a human.
It's still
a
burning.
branch is to a what?
That we saw that burn pile when we were recording our last episode, or our first episode, or whatever episode
Which
it's
was
going to
on
end up being.
Wednesday.
Which was an undisclosed number of days ago,
Oh.
and it's still burning. That is such a big burn pile, man. Woo!
Yeah.
I'm hangry. Not actually, just hungry. Pass me a piece of pizza.
I want to start reading road signs, but that might give you guys clues.
Like we can't read how far we are from anywhere.
Yeah.
We
yeah.
can't even read what highway we're
There you
on.
go.
Yeah.
We could read like on. Whoa, that's a whoa.
I know, it's really cheesy. Apparently the blade was like sloped and all the toppings went onto that one.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm not allowed to chew, but you are.
Hey, I never said you couldn't eat pizza. I just said you couldn't chew loud.
Oh. Okay.
You could say
Okay, I've got an idea. We read just the numbers on addresses.
We could do that.
Why would we do that?
We're gonna run out of addresses pretty soon. Because
Well, yeah, but it's like every time.
Secret information. Because we're gonna be in an area with no houses soon.
Just like shout out to 2929. It's a year. Boom. That's how we do it.
Shout out to greenhouses.
Yep. We just chart. I've got it. First person to spot a address sign asks everyone else what they think will exist in that year, or did exist in that year. Just as a thought experiment. Like if it's 19 something and you thought that telescopes.
Can't we
were
just
better.
say
License plates.
single-celled organisms for all of them?
No. Like what is it? What will
Single-celled
be
organisms.
invented in that year?
1950, there were single-celled organisms then.
But they weren't invented.
Yes.
Oh, invented in that year. That's our
Yes.
But I think we might run out of addresses. So let's use license plates. Like the
Oh.
one right. Oh, wait. Is it bad to announce people's license plates on here? We're not saying their whole license plate, so it should
Yeah.
be fine.
Yeah.
5353. So in the year 5353, what will be invented?
Oh, that's a far ways, bud.
Probably the
That's like-
rapture will happen before then.
Yeah, but
it's
like,
possible, but what if it doesn't?
okay.
What if the world doesn't end?
I'm guessing we're probably going to inhabit several different planets, and the world might have ended because it might have run out of stuff.
Yeah, I would guess that. I mean, at our current, there are many different possibilities for the future. That's one of the problems with this game, and I'm gonna go with the capitalistic approach of eating everything we can and then moving on like a giant cow. And that will be.
That's not capitalist. That's literally cows.
Oh.
That's the
Okay,
cow. That's the cow model.
Okay, the cow approach. And I will say. I don't think Earth will be used up, but it won't be the best place to live. I would say Mars would be a better place to live. And we inhabit. I'm gonna say 3 bodies that are not the. No, I'll just bring it up to we have colonies of people permanently living on 5 different space things.
Well, that
Space
could just be Mars and all of its moons, and that would be more than 5.
Well, yeah. But living on a moon is way different than living on a planet. It's like why we haven't set up a base. Like, it's taken us a while to set up a moon base.
It's true. I mean, we haven't yet.
Like Like, I would guess. Like, it's a question of Mars or moon base. I'm currently... The problem with Mars...
It sounds like we're going to Mars.
Yeah, it
Mars
sounds...
is happening first.
The problem is with Mars, it makes sense to build a colony, because it's all or nothing. If you're sending dudes over there, you want them to be there a while, because the trip takes so long. It's like how you wouldn't... From Earth to Mars.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the trip takes so long that it makes sense to just send enough stuff that they can just live there. As opposed to a moon colony, you would be constantly sending stuff back and forth, which in the end, in my opinion, would have a greater overall cost.
No, because the moon's, I don't think the moon would be more expensive because we have to send it so much further to get to Mars.
True, but it's a question of, like, 3 shuttles to Mars that are pretty big, or upwards of... Well, I mean, if people are being carried in the ships, then it's being funded for most likely by those people.
It's true. But it is possible that, like, a government funds it, or that, like, SpaceX funds it. I mean, we're probably going to go on a SpaceX rocket.
Yeah.
So most of the SpaceX rockets are... Sorry, most of the rockets that we could use to get to Mars are SpaceX rockets.
Here's an idea for a dystopian future. SpaceX, quickly, with lots of funding, dominated the space race on Earth and became the dominant space company, but then there are no government-run space companies, and they all just pay SpaceX to launch rockets.
But you're talking about a plausible future, right? Because there are still national space companies.
Yes. A possible future.
Yeah.
And then SpaceX controls all space flights.
Well, they do, but if they sell someone a rocket, like, they can't still control that rocket. Like, if SpaceX sells a rocket to NASA controls it now.
Well, they don't really sell the rocket, they sell the launch.
Yeah. But you're right, they would have a lot of control.
But to be fair, the U.S. government does own all of the launch pads that SpaceX currently launches rockets off of. So until they get their own island and put a launch pad on that, so it's not in any other country.
Well, that's the interesting thing about time travel. I mean, space travel. Because you have to launch, like, at the correct time. Like, if your launch pad is in one specific place, then you have to wait for the exact right time when it's kind of pointing at where you want to go.
Yeah.
So, like, they say that they could only launch a mission to Mars in an even-numbered year.
Yeah.
Specifically, once every 2 years. So they could have launched one this year. Yeah, once every even year. So they could have launched one this year.
Or
They could launch one in 2020. They could launch one in 2022. But you can't launch in odd number years just because I think the Earth is on the opposite side of its orbit from Mars.
Yeah.
So you have to go, like, all the way past the sun.
There's a certain time every even numbered year where there's only one, like, 2-month launch window, so every even numbered year.
Yeah.
There's a couple of months where they're at their closest, or will be at their closest by the time you get there.
Yeah, and that's the weird thing. A simple game on an educational website taught me that you don't actually want to launch when the planets are closest. You want to launch when they're coming towards each other in some way. Either one of them's moving faster than the other, and they're closing in distance, so that the momentum of when you launch off of Earth carries you so that you hit Mars.
And that's the that's the thing, because if you launched to Mars, you can't get to Mars and back in 2 months. Like, we're not capable of that yet. It's going to take you, like, what is it 6 months to get there?
6 to 8.
6 to 8
SpaceX
months to
is
get
saying
there.
they're going to do it in 6, and everyone else is saying it's going to take 8.
Yeah, so like, theoretically, the shortest trip you could do is a 2-year trip. Because if you launch in one window, you have to wait till the next window 2 years later. So theoretically, they could go to Mars in 6 months, live there for a year, and then come back in 6 months. And that could happen. It could. That's what I've heard right now from SpaceX, is that there's planning for a return trip.
Actually, I heard that there's planning for a return trip of the rocket, but most of the people are going to stay there because the rockets are reusable. They need to launch more people to Mars.
Yeah,
And the book The Martian will almost literally happen, except there will be more than one dude there.
Because we can't give spoilers about the book or the movie The Martian.
Oh, okay.
We can't.
They're going to... Can I just say what they're going to do in space?
You can say what SpaceX is going to do.
Okay, they're planning to plant potatoes on Mars. Because science
really?
works out.
Not
Yes.
necessarily potatoes, probably a leafy green because it needs less light.
Mm.
So probably they'll be eating a lot of like spinach and kale.
Now, that's the thing, is that Mars
they-
could grow that stuff, but its Earth is like sucky, so they're going to have to bring a lot of fertilizer with them.
Yes and no. They just have to take the dirt and then wash it and then fill it full of minerals. So they have to basically do what Caleb was talking about. So you have to mix it. You have to have a waste recycling system like on the ISS.
Mm.
So you input Martian dirt to increase the quantity of stuff you can grow it.
Yeah.
Or... Yeah,
and then you have solar panels going to lamps that can grow plants. So your plants wouldn't actually grow outside because they get all irradiated
yeah.
because of all the radiation. So it'd be grown like below some quantity of Martian dirt. So either in a cave or you build buildings out of Martian dirt.
Yeah, and a few of the things they can do, which are just simple things that most farmers do nowadays that help plants grow quite a lot, is composting. So, like potato plants, to be fair, most of the potato plant is actually toxic, and only the super bred potatoes that we have now made are non-toxic.
Really?
Yes, and when you plant a physical potato, it makes just clones of itself.
Yeah.
But if you plant potato seeds, then you get all kind of crazy stuff. And you need to be very careful about planting potato seeds. So it will make more sense for them actually to carry a whole bunch of potatoes than potato seeds, even though that doesn't make any sense in your head.
Like, maybe this is a little known secret to some people, but
Yes.
if you want to plant potatoes, just plant a whole potato.
Yes.
Just like grab a tater and just like shove it in the dirt.
Yes.
Basically how you grow potatoes.
And water it.
Yes,
And then another thing that it's hard for farmers to do nowadays because of the way markets work, but you rotate crops. So, for example, strawberries suck like all of the types of nutrients out of the soil. But there are other crops, which I can't think of the names of any of them right now, that don't suck up certain nutrients, and they like throw it out of themselves basically. So it concentrates that one nutrients, like say, I don't know, the minerals you need to make vitamin A, which means that there is now a bunch of vitamin A in your soil, which means you can plant something that produces a lot of vitamin A and it will grow very well. Now, of course, it still needs things like sunlight and water and stuff.
Yeah.
But one of the amazing things is a lot of plants, like, you could do a thing like hydroponics, which doesn't need that much dirt at all. Because most of a plant, to be fair, is just water. Like, most green plants, I should say, like lettuce, 90% water.
Most of the plant is water.
Potatoes, 80% water.
But at the same time, the most important part of the plant is the part that's not water.
Yes. Speaking of which, here's a potato paradox for you.
Ooh, my favorite kind of paradox.
If you have 100 pounds of potatoes, freshly picked from your garden. Yes, I know you don't pick potatoes, but go with me on it.
Yep.
And 99% of it is water. That means 1% is solid. This is not actually how potatoes work. And then you leave them out to dry. This is a fresh picked. You want them to dry a little bit. You come back tomorrow. And the 98% water and 2% solid. How much do they weigh?
You picked 100 pounds on the first day, right?
Yes.
100 pounds.
No. Because they dried up some.
They lost
Less than 100
water.
pounds.
That is not an eligible answer, sir.
99 pounds.
No. That's what everyone thinks, but you're wrong. Because you don't look at the water, you look at the solid. Because that solid amount has doubled. Which means all of the water has to be cut in half. Which means there's actually only 50 pounds of potatoes. 1 pound solid, 49 pounds water, which makes 2% solid. 98% water.
There you go. All of you potato enthusiasts are just overjoyed.
Yes.
Just totally satisfied.
You're welcome.
You're
Also-
welcome.
This year at camp, I discovered the taste of maple, and it tastes good.
You had never tasted maple?
I'm not sure.
You live in Canada. You're unsure if you've ever had maple syrup.
Yeah.
Well, there's
Yeah.
maple syrup and there's maple syrup.
Yeah.
There's the fake kind and the real kind.
Yeah.
There's the kind that comes from a tree and the kind that comes from a big machine that you put in sugar.
Yeah, but they both taste like maple.
I mean,
They
most
don't
of the
taste
time.
the same.
Well, real maple syrup tastes like actual.
Yeah.
Yeah. And most syrup that we buy isn't even the fake maple syrup.